Hello and welcome back to Eden Equips, our podcast that shares real stories, practical tools, helping parents, carers, educators feel equipped in this journey, whether you are raising or supporting a neurodivergent child or young person. So if you're tuning in with a coffee, in the car, or during that rare quiet moment, I'm really happy you're here. And I'm also very happy that Gemma is here. I'm really pleased to introduce Gemma, who is our guest today. Gemma is extremely caring and passionate individual who is helping support neurodivergent individuals and their families and have been for many years. Gemma is actually one of the first people that I came across on my journey of Eden Consultancy. She has such a kind heart. One is full of compassion, I would say a gentle determination to create a better world for neurodivergent children and young people, and she very much has done that. You created your own consultancy work supporting individuals and their families. You're a mother to neurodivergent children, and you're now working for the EA. It's been a big journey. Actually saying that all out loud, you're probably hearing that and being like, gosh, I need a wee lie down actually after all that. I'm delighted to have you with us here today. So you're all in for a treat today listening to Gemma. Now, me listing those things, you're here today, Gemma, and you could wear many hats in this conversation of professional, of parent, and looking at many different roles as well. I guess, cliche, a great place to start is always the beginning, isn't it? Where did this passion that you have, this deep care that you do have for neurodivergent individuals, where did that start?
Great question. And thank you for having me. Probably when I was at uni is the first time I kind of came across anything to do with neurodivergence. Autism was a module. It wasn't actually a module, but it was brought up in a module that I was doing at uni. And we were showing a video of a young person who was conditioned to be able to throw a ball. And I remember looking around the room and everybody being so enthralled that this was an amazing piece of work.
Right.
And I was actually feeling really sad. And I was, for me, it was a bit like, why is everybody thinking this is good? I just felt really sad because for me, it was kind of like, is that young person wanting to do that like that?
Right.
So I started then on a bit of a deep dive discovery into all things autism. And that was 21 years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel very old.
No, that's but it's really cool to hear that in terms of actually, and I think that's an acknowledgement always has to be made. 21 years ago, there were videos being shown in university settings of here's how we mold these individuals to try and be like the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah.
And here's how we force them. And it's none of the neuroaffirming practice we talk about today. That very here's how you can create them to be like everybody else, which is actually, when you look back on it, it gives you shivers, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But that's what it was back in those days. I feel so old.
Those days.
Yeah. That is what it was, and that was our understanding of autism and autism practice. But for me, it never sat right. I did go into ABA therapy, which I'm kind of saying that, but I did. But I went in with a view of, this doesn't sit right. I'm not okay with this.
Yep.
And I used to challenge, I'm the sort of person that, like you said, quietly challenges things. And I quietly challenged
determination.
Those who were around me, who were supervising me. I was like, I'm not really sure about this.
Why are we doing it like this?
Yeah, can you explain why? And nobody could give me answers.
Nearly, it's because it's the way we've done it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
This is just what you do. This is evidence-based research, and this is what we do. But if it just didn't sit right, so that kind of started me off on a journey of kind of discovering what it really meant to be autistic for an individual, and really then, I suppose, kind of looking at what was best for the individual and the families and looking at that more. And nobody was doing that back then, to my knowledge. It was all very much, no, we're the professionals, we're coming in, we'll decide when.
We know this is exactly
we know
what
that,
you should do.
You shouldn't be flapping your hands. No, that's not okay.
Wow.
So it was very much that, quiet hands. And I was like, no, they want to flap their hands, you flap away.
But I think it's so good to then even highlight that, because there'll be so many people listening that will have had a journey where they have either maybe feel a bit of guilt around that too, I think.
Oh yeah, certainly. And even like for me, like even talking about this now,
Yeah.
you know, there is a bit of guilt still there of that was my first introduction to autism
Right.
and how you support, and it was, you know, therapy,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for
yeah.
these kids to make them the same as everybody else. Like and you
It's
know,
heartbreaking looking back,
it
isn't
is
it? Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And
However, I always say, even just to encourage you in that, because I always say, like, when it, especially if parents are talking to me about, oh, I feel so bad, like, I didn't realize that's not what you should be doing, that's not the language you should use.
yeah,
I'm always like, we don't actually know until you know.
No,
And once
that's
you know,
100%,
then
yeah.
you can do something about it.
yeah,
I also think there's real power in being able to have experience in terms of being like, look at where we were and look
Yeah.
at where we are now. Because, oh my gosh, don't you and I both know we're not where we should be. But it's different. It is different to 20 years ago. Like when I was teaching, stimming was very much something that was encouraged. You know, we were at
Yeah.
that stage of like, yep, this should be something that young people are doing. And it's an
Yeah.
expression of their need at time, or expression of joy and excitement. But we knew that journey had been before us of quiet hands, don't be doing that. Don't,
Yeah.
And yet it seeps still in a wee bit in society, doesn't it? Still to this day.
Yep.
So that was kind of starting point. You could hear your something was set alight, set on fire within you around this topic. Life journeyed on, and you became a mum, and that has been, I know, a beautiful journey for you. So I think there's such an insight that can be given as both a mother and a professional in this field. I think I know from talking to you, many others, there's friction and tension within that can be incredibly challenging. But I think you'd have to, even if you wouldn't even agree, I would say you've got a special insight into this then, a really unique insight that has to be talked about and has to be heard as well. Can you talk us, it's such a big question, and oh my gosh, we could spend the rest of the week talking about it, but what's it been like being a mum and being a mum to neurodivergent children?
It's been exhausting. It's been exciting. It's been interesting. It's been exhilarating.
Yeah.
It's all of the emotions,
Right.
like everything. And I know it's a bit cliche saying it, but it is like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
You go up and down, and you look forward to the kind of in-betweens, not the real highs and not the real lows, but the kind of just
Wow.
the
Yeah.
things that other people would maybe just class as everyday normal life.
Like mundane.
Yeah, that's the things I look
beautiful
forward to the most, because that's where it's easiest, I suppose. It's easiest to manage. Yeah, I often get asked, like, did I go into this because
Yes.
of, of having kids who are neurodivergent? And my answer is like, no, it was like, yeah, kind of like a happy coincidence. Not really a coincidence when you start going down the path of, let's kind of look at ourselves and look at whatever. But anyway, that is another story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it has been a journey, and we're still on it, and it has been really difficult at times, really tricky to navigate when you have knowledge about what should and shouldn't be done for your kids. Advocating for your kids as a professional, I have found really, really difficult to do. It's so much easier when you're sitting on the professional side.
Okay.
And advocating
Can
for
I ask you
others.
why? Like, what would bring up that challenge in terms of, for you as a parent, how in that way is it harder to advocate for than when you're in the professional seat at that table?
I think two
metaphorically or
things. I
literally?
think the first thing is the emotional attachment you obviously
course,
have to
yeah.
your kids, and you just want the best for them, and no one knows your kids like you do as a parent. Like, you know them inside out. You're the expert on your child.
Yeah, and that, like, just to pull that out, Gemma, like to highlight that, like, educationers need to hear this loud and clear. Parents are the experts of their child or young person, no matter how much you know. You could be, I will always say that I would probably be seen as a specialist in this field.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting across from a parent telling me about their young person, who am I to go, well, actually, your young person is more like this? We have to take a breath and hear that from parents.
Yeah.
They are the professionals and the expert in their kids.
Yeah.
I broke your trail of thought there, Gemma, but
you're okay.
continue.
That
I
was
just think
lovely.
that's so important.
Yeah, no, it is so important. The other thing is when you're sitting there as a parent across the table from professionals or from teachers or whoever it may be, it's very different because you have a different voice in that room and you're seen as a parent. You're not seen as somebody who is an expert. And that is really, really tricky. So bind that with the emotions and it becomes quite, well, very difficult to manage and navigate. So
I guess, like, because that, I guess I'm not surprised, but that breaks my heart that that's the story, you know, from being a teacher, you know, and then working with parents primarily now.
Yeah.
I've seen how I would probably go back and do things a wee bit differently. I think also that comes with age and maturity and
Definitely,
emotional understanding. But if say I'm a teacher and I'm listening to this, how can I change that? Like, without going into the system and all of that, how can I, in my classroom on a Monday morning, I have, like, this is coming up to parent-teacher interviews, I think, are mostly, you know, around time of year that you get key points of parent-teacher interviews. Someone will be listening to this going into a parent-teacher meeting. How can I, as a teacher, make them feel more comfortable?
Listen and really be curious. There's a great, I don't know if you've ever deep dived into appreciative inquiry, but it's a really lovely technique, psychology technique.
Talk me through that.
So it's basically where you're looking at strength-based. So, and you're getting curious about, you know, how an individual is. So if a parent is sitting in front of you saying, my child is not okay when they get home at the end of the day, get curious about that, ask about that.
Lovely.
And figure out a way with the parent, like go on that journey with the parent to figure out how can I best support you. I'm listening to you and I'm really listening, not just surface level listening.
Like, yeah.
But actually listening.
I love that.
So yeah, I think it's just being curious. It's being, you know, get curious about what parents are saying. Get curious about what you're noticing in the classroom with these young people, especially if a parent has brought it to your attention that they're, you know, struggling a wee bit.
Right.
The kids that always worry me the most are always the ones who are quiet and internalize. So they're always the ones that are highlighted to me, not the ones that
attention.
Are, you know,
throwing the chairs,
right, because they're able to get it out.
Yes,
like, everybody can say, okay,
we can see
we've got
they
an
need
issue
help
here.
Right.
So the wee ones that are quiet that you maybe miss, and the parents are coming in and saying, you know, that's not the way they are at home. They're fine. They're really.
We're seeing all of that at home.
Yeah. Get curious about that. That would be my.
And if I'm meeting a parent. And I know that this is going to be, so I think curiosity, empathy, all of that stuff's really important. Like holding that emotion in a meeting. Is there a way that I can even better prepare parents for those kind of conversations?
Let them know, I suppose, just kind of letting them know that you're open to having those conversations.
Right. And that here's what we're going to be kind of talking about. I always wonder if the way that we do it in schools isn't great in terms of you're like, here's a meeting, here's how much time you've got.
Yeah.
I know time is constricted because you have to.
Yeah.
But I remember really, really clearly a parent coming in for a meeting that we would like naturally have because it was a pupil who was new to the school. So within 4 weeks, we would have to have met with the parents. Like, never mind parent teacher. And I remember her coming in and I just sat down I was so nonchalant and I was like, so-and-so's getting on so well, And I started talking. I was like, we've had these conversations about obviously there being a lot of behaviour. And I was like, you know, all of that stuff. So I'm here today to tell you all the great stuff we've seen.
Yeah.
And I looked up because I was just chatting away as I normally do. And the mum was in floods of tears. And I was like, oh my gosh, everything okay? And she was like, Rebecca, I've never been in a meeting that I've heard a good thing about my child. I was so scared about today because I thought you were going to say this school isn't going to be able to meet his needs. And that highlighted to me, you've got it. There's so much emotional journey that a parent's been on to walk through the doors even to you and relationship with teachers. I was like, I must highlight what this meeting's about before, you know, and be like, just to let you know, just want to like, let you see their work. It's going to be a really positive meeting. It's not a, hey, we've actually got to sit down and look at.
Yeah, this is really difficult.
Yeah.
And I suppose being respectful of what maybe that parent has been through to get through the doors, because often that's the case. You know,
it's emotional.
You have so many things.
You're exhausted, as you said. Like all those words you used there to describe parenting a neurodivergent child. That's what parents are often bringing in.
Yeah.
And if we're meeting, say, as the professionals and just being like, okay, so, and just go into, and I lose the human.
Yeah, that's
And
the
I would
bit.
always then argue like that goes both ways, doesn't it? You know, of then parents understanding that the teacher sat across from them is a human being too, who maybe isn't doing things in the right way, but maybe they need to learn
They
and
need
support
too,
and
yeah.
and that they're human with a lot of things
Yeah.
going on too. But I think if that can both be met, like how
Yeah.
different would those meetings be?
I know, it'd be incredible.
Like,
And
it
there's
feels
some
safer.
like really incredible teachers and professionals
Totally.
that I have come across in
Oh my gosh, the
schools
best. Yeah.
that you just think, wow, if you could just be replicated.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
just it just needs one of you in every school, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and that is, and I'm the same. Like going into schools, you find the few who are like you're
Yeah.
impacting the many,
Yeah.
and how what a gift to be able to be as a teacher to give that. I think even just kind of coming into this of like hope in a way, just to kind of bring us into land a little bit. If you were at the beginning of your journey again, the very beginning, because as you said, it's a roller coaster that is up and down a lot. But if you're back at the beginning, would there be one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say this too shall pass
That's beautiful.
because that's
Wow. Yeah.
kind of, you know, that's where we are and you have to just hold that sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Because it is so
yeah.
changing, ever changing in the
is.
journey of that where we're at, and we will get through this as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah. And also like having such a good relationship with my husband, like that, really, that has been incredible, I suppose,
yeah,
because I've
shout out
needed
to him.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
The
that
support system.
yeah, that support system, like support systems are huge.
And I think even pulling out stuff you said before that I've noticed is that both of you were willing to go on that journey.
Yeah.
You know, he was also willing to step in and
Yeah.
learn and wanted to, and that's important.
And that has also been really difficult because obviously I've been doing this job
Right.
for so long.
You're like, why don't you know
And
this
then you're
already?
like, yeah, expecting him to know what I know and he
Yeah.
doesn't. And that's been tricky. You know, and I have to be patient with him and he has to be patient
Yeah,
with me.
yeah.
And we've had to like spend a lot of time, you know, working through that and communicating with each other.
Yeah, it's important.
Figuring that all out. Yeah.
And
so,
doing that, I guess anyone listening to this, whatever your support system is, doing that with your support system, you know, whether that's your partner or whether it is like your mum or your neighbor or a friend, like that you're both having patience with each other in this journey because it's a roller coaster, you're both going to feel different things at different times.
That's it.
And that can be incredibly challenging. I think we've given a little bit of terms of like hope of how professionals and parents can maybe work a wee bit better together. We kind of come into this point and we try and like end the episodes with our quick equip moments.
Yeah.
So rapid fire, supposedly so. Can I do rapid fires? I don't know if that is in my pot, but let's go. One tool or resource that you love.
Energy account.
Oh, tell me about that.
My most favorite tool that I always use, and I use it for myself and with my own kids.
Okay.
It's a Tony Atwood, and I can't remember the other name of the person who developed it, but it's really looking at your energy throughout the day, like what are your deposits, what are your credits, you know, what is making you feel great, what things are really dragging you down, and kind of plotting that
Such
to
a
kind
good
of
one.
see. Yeah.
And
where you're at
also
through the
helping
day.
take note of what your young people's energy and where their energy's at as well.
100%. Yeah.
Because it's going to be different.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
Brilliant. Love that. Mindset that helps you.
Courage over comfort.
Come on, bit of Brené Brown.
That's, yeah.
Preach. Yeah.
That has got me through probably
Has
the
it?
past,
Yeah.
5-6 years. Yeah, I would say courage over comfort because it is it's really hard.
It is.
And sometimes you have to be courageous over being comfortable and you have to advocate and
Right.
you feel like you're that parent or you're that person
Me again.
making things a bit tricky, but it's not. You're
No,
just
you're
advocating.
advocating. Yeah.
So
100%. That's beautiful, actually. And like, I think even acknowledging that it takes parents to be courageous.
yeah.
You know, some of the most courageous human beings I know are parents of neurodivergent
Yeah, no, I would 100%
children and
agree.
young people.
Yeah.
Absolute firehouses and have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One piece of advice you want to share with others, whether that's personal, professional, what do you reckon?
That's a really tricky one. Like, isn't it? Because just one piece.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose what you'd said earlier, just about the connections and being open and honest about where you're at.
Okay. Yeah.
With your support network. I would say get communicating.
Yeah.
And get honest.
Yeah.
About where you're at and get.
Doesn't always have to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think actually that's something I've seen you do really beautifully. Like when we were meeting up just to chat, it's very much like, and I think that's important, isn't it? When you feel safe with a person, obviously there's more likelihood to sharing, but that it's never that fear of with people you feel safe with of being like, yeah, things are good.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, actually, my living room's trashed at home because that was a really tough morning, you know. So I think that's great. Gemma, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Absolute fab job. Honestly, so good. And I think there's such a gift in being able to give people the perspective of both parent and professional as well. And I really hope that you guys heard something that inspires you, encourages you within that, or just reminds you you're really, really not alone on this journey. So thank you, Gemma. Thanks, everybody.